This is Daniel Kwame Pobi, your friend, welcoming you to Highcat's Leadership 360. It's exciting to have you. This is where we discuss everything leadership, anything concerning your leadership style, how to grow your leadership, how to grow your team, how to develop and increase your organization. And it's my honor to welcome you to this episode. This episode, we are looking at what we have titled the Hedgehog Effect. The Hedgehog Effect. And it's going to be a good session for you and for your team. If this is your first time you are joining us, I want to encourage you subscribe to the channel and also click on that bell button so that you receive the notifications as and when these teachings are released. We are discussing the hedgehog effect. Now, there is a story, and the story is about hedgehogs, or if you like, porcupines. And this story is there was winter, and as these animals were battling with the cold, the idea came to them that look, if they could come together, if they could just pull together, they could keep themselves warm, benefit from the heat from each other, and therefore remain and stay warm. But there was a problem. The problem was that as they came together, they have pines on their skin. As they came together, their spines were choking or hurting each other. And so they decided to part and to go far away because of the hurt and to stay away. But as they stayed away, the cold was also killing them. And then they decided again to come together. So back and forth, and huddling and dispersing because of the chilling and all that going on. Eventually, they took a decision. They realized that it is better for them to come together, but then they can stay a little far or a little closer to each other. A little closer gives some distance so that the spines will not hurt themselves, and then they could also benefit from being together, the heat from each other. And that is the story that we want to use for our conversation in this episode, the hedgehog effect. What is that when it comes to team building? What is that when it comes to growing ourselves in teamwork and our ability to work with others? So we'll be looking at the attitudes of true leaders as one issue, and then we'll talk again about teamwork. Then we'll talk a bit about the five dysfunctions that we discussed in the other episode. And hey, look, if you have not listened to that episode, overcoming the five dysfunctions of a team, you want to look for it in that YouTube video, and you want to listen and listen again and share also with your friend, share with your team members, because yes, as you work together, these are things you need to learn and grow together. And then we will also be discussing the hedgehog effect. Let me share some quotes with you. The Chinese general Tu says that the well-run group is not a battlefield of egos. The well-run group is not a battlefield of egos. Then the saying that we all know, united we stand, divided we fall. United we stand, divided we fall. There is a third quote, which is a proverb, an Ethiopian proverb. It says that when spider webs unite, they can tie up a lion. That is an Ethiopian proverb. When spider webs unite, they can tie up a lion. And in on these quotes, these wise sayings, we want to dive into our topic for this episode, the hedgehog effect. Now, attitudes of true leaders. It is what we have been discussing in some episodes so far. We are discussing the unique attitudes that true leaders possess. These unique attitudes are necessary if you are going to experience manifestation of your leadership capacity. if you are going to demonstrate what it is that you have as a leader, then these attitudes should come along with you in your leadership. And our discussion has been based on the fact that these attitudes can be learned, these attitudes can be developed, these attitudes can be refined just by practice. As you practice them, as you learn them and use them and practice them, you develop further, you refine it, you polish it, and you're getting better. The point is that when these things come together, when these attitudes that we've been discussing for some time now, when they come together, what they do is that they allow you to fulfill the true definition of leadership, and that is you are able to bring influence to bear. Remember, we talked about vision and purpose, and we are discussing now teamwork. That is an attitude that every great leader should have. Now, in the past episode also, we talked about teamwork and we defined it as that ability to work together toward a common vision. So there is a common vision, there is a common objective, there is a common target, and individuals come together and say that we are going to channel our resources, our energies, our time together so we achieve this common objective that all of us are putting before ourselves. Then we also said that teamwork remains one sustainable competitive advantage that every organization, every institution should work for. Because this one, no one can take it away from you. It's an advantage if you have the members of your group or your team or your organization working together toward the targets and objectives that your institution or organization you've set for yourself. Now, the true measure of every organization, every group, every team, we measure it by how much you are able to accomplish. Your results. What are you able to show for coming together? If you are able to show or demonstrate results, then we say that you have an effective team. Effectiveness means you are achieving the results for which you came together. Now, if this achievement or results, if this performance level is going to be sustained, if it is something that you can achieve and repeat over and over again, then we talked about the fact that you need to watch out. If teamwork is going to be effective amongst you, you need to watch out for these 5 dysfunctions that Patrick Lencioni talked about. The 5 dysfunctions of a team. These are the things that can eat up your teamwork. These are the things that can break morale and spoil things if you don't watch them carefully. And that is what we talked about in the previous episode. Interestingly, we talked about these dysfunctions and we talked about how to overcome them, and we talked about the role that a leader is supposed to play in order to overcome these. Look, get that video, listen to it again, share it with someone, and let them also benefit from the wealth of information that is in there. But let me briefly talk about these 5 dysfunctions. The first one, the main one, the big one, is the lack of trust. Many teams suffer this dysfunction and it hurts them. It's that lack of trust that makes people not want to be vulnerable before their colleagues or team members. They don't want to show their mistakes, they don't want to show their faults. When things don't go well, they try to cover up. It's lack of trust. The second one is fear of conflict, afraid of hurting each other. Then we maintain some artificial harmony as if all is well. But that is a dysfunction. It does not allow us to gel. It does not allow us to benefit from each other because we are kind of, if you like, pretending and assuming that all is well with us. The third one is lack of commitment. Lack of commitment to what is set up, lack of commitment to what is agreed, the agreements that we arrive at. If it's not clear, if it's ambiguous, and if we don't have buy-in, team members do not show commitment. Lack of commitment kills a lot of teams. And if you know that when people don't buy into what it is that they are doing collectively, you are not able to achieve. The fourth one is avoidance of accountability. Because I don't want to be held accountable, I don't hold you to account. And so team members pretend and allow each other, to escape, because if I hold you accountable, you will also hold me accountable. Now, this is the fourth dysfunction of a team. The fifth one we said is inattention to results. Inattention to results, where we shift the goalpost and we shift our focus onto those things that are personal, and those goals that will get us the status that we want personally, and put aside the common objective or common goal that we have set for ourselves. So lack of trust is the first one. Fear of conflict is the second one. Lack of commitment is the third one. Then we also talked about lack of accountability as the fourth one. And the fifth one, inattention to results. These are the five dysfunctions, and how to overcome them. I said, go get that video on our YouTube channel and listen. How do you overcome these? That is not our focus for today. Today, we are looking at the hedgehog effect. The hedgehog effect. Now, the porcupines had that dilemma. They are looking at, we want to stay alive. There is winter, the cold is killing majority of us. The cold is killing us, and as our members keep dying, how do we get ourselves out of it? How do we get ourselves to survive? As they came together, the pricking and the hurting and the choking from the spines of each other made it difficult for them to remain together. And so they started separating. And as they were separating, more were dying. So that is the dilemma that they found themselves in. What should they do? And it's the dilemma for every team, every group as we come together. Now, there are questions that we ask ourselves, and these are things that, prevent us from bonding and building solid teams, and having that teamwork that is able to accomplish results. Now, these hedgehogs or porcupines, eventually they discovered that it was better for them, they were best off remaining at a little distance from each other. That is the solution that they found. And if any team is going to stay together, this is my recommendation to you in this episode, because the question remains that all of us individuals, at the same time within us, we have this simultaneous need for and fear of intimacy. We have need for intimacy. At the same time, we are afraid of intimacy. And that is the dilemma that all of us have to face. How much intimacy can we really endure? How much intimacy can you endure? And we ask ourselves, how much closeness is too much? How much closeness is too much? Questions like, how close can I get with my colleague at the office? How much close can we get? How much close can I get with my boss? How much close can I get with my direct report? These are questions that we ask ourselves. How much can I open up to others? What can I share with them? How much can I open up? What can I share? Issues of my life, issues concerning my job, and things like that. How much vulnerable can I be? And then what can we disclose about ourselves? Some things are private, some things are public. And which of them? How much can I disclose? How much can I make known to my colleagues? And it's about, yeah, if I make these known, what will that be used for? Will that be used against me? Will that go against me? If we are in a team workshop, like we do for many teams, we are running a workshop and we are doing team building activities, and we ask people to share and tell us about themselves, and let members also know about each other. Sometimes people struggle. Sometimes it's difficult. Some members are unwilling to talk. I've seen cases where some intentionally even swerved the session because they don't want to open up. And it's a dilemma. We want to be intimate. At the same time, we are afraid of that intimacy, because that intimacy brings some warmth to us. Bring some love to us. Bring some feeling of you are also needed and wanted. That feeling is good for us to continue and to try. But at the same time, we are afraid we are going to get hurt. We are going to be offended. People are going to say things to us. And you are going to ask yourself, is it because I'm too open? Is it because I'm so relaxed and too close to this colleague of mine? That is why that statement was made to me. And it's that dilemma that we have, and it prevents teams from bonding. And this is the fundamental reason why people often find it difficult to work in a team. This is the dilemma. And as we are talking about it, all of us face it, but the decision rests with you. And this dilemma suggests that human relations, we have a substantial degree of ambivalence. We require a certain contradictory feelings for other persons. We want them close, we want them far. We want them far, we want them close. At the same time, it's contradictory inside us, and we need to settle that. If you want to be a good team player, if you want to grow in teamwork as a leader, as a professional, you want to grow in teamwork, this is something that you need to check, because the hedgehogs, the porcupines, eventually they realized and discovered that they were best off keeping a little distance from one another. And I cannot prescribe what is allowed and what is not allowed, because every situation is peculiar. But I want you to understand that you need to determine that you need to get close, and you also need to maintain a certain level of distance. So I want to ask you, on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you rate yourself if we're looking at intimacy on one end and then avoidance on another end? It's just one axis. Intimacy on one end and then the avoidance on another. You want intimacy or you want avoidance? On a scale of 1 to 10, which place do you position yourself? Are you the person that likes to be close to people? Do you like to be close to people? Where do you position yourself? Which kind of hedgehog are you? Which kind of porcupine are you? Or you prefer to be very distant from other people? So 1 is very close, 10 is very distant. And from 1 to 10, where do you find yourself as an individual? Where do you position yourself? Where do you rate yourself? And how does your position, where you position yourself on this axis that we are talking about, how does this affect your relationship with others? How does this affect your relationship with others? Reflect on this. Reflect also on your various relationships, because sometimes you are at one with another in one relationship and you are somewhere 5 with another relationship, or somewhere 8 with another relationship. You want to look at all the other relationships that you have and find out what kind of hedgehog are you on a scale of 1 to 10. And we said 1 is that you want to be very intimate, and 10 is that you want to be very far from other people. That is avoidance, intimacy and avoidance. 1 to 10, intimacy to avoidance. On that scale, where do you find yourself? And where would you place each of the other relationships that you have? Where would you place it? With you and that person, with you and your husband, with you and your wife, with you and your direct reports, your colleague at the office, or with your boss? How do you rate that relationship that you have? This is something that all of us should reflect on. Yes, indeed, we are excited that you were able to join us in this episode. I believe it's been worth your while. If you are watching this video for the very first time, let me remind you, click on that subscribe button and also click on that bell button so you can receive all the notifications when these teachings come up, and then you'll be part of what we are doing together. This is Leadership 360, and we are excited that you are able to join with us. Thank you very much. Keep safe and take care of yourself. Bye bye.